We're back.
Welcome to Cast the Craze podcast. I am your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vert, and I am with
George, the dreamer.
Remember this? you don't remember that? Your face is priceless. You don't remember? You don't go on TikTok.
No.
So they have these things. They have all these different skits. It's like. Yum yum yum.
Holy cow! Yeah, no, I never heard that. Never heard that in my life.
Oh, poor George. He's like, yo, Sam, lost it.
But when you said remember this, it sounded like this was from like back in the days.
On the Boulevard of Linden. Yeah, I know. So welcome to a new episode of Cast the Craze podcast. And today we'll have a very special or return guest. We first had her on the show back in 2007, I believe it was, back in the early days of the Cast the Craze. And she is a screenwriter. She's written books, written screenplays, worked on animation. She's done it all, and she's returning. So we're going to follow up on her career, Shannon Muir. And, I'm excited to see how her career has evolved since the last time we had her on the show.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody. Today is December 18th, episode number 216. Christmas is right around the corner, and like Sam said, Shannon Muir. Return guest, man. It's been years since we last spoke. Well, I wanted to listen to the show that we recorded way back when. I couldn't find it in our archives, but that's on me. Shannon Muir, yeah, she's had quite a career since she was last on the show. I think she was here promoting a book called Gardener's Guide to Writing and Producing Animation, right? And right. Now she's like run the gamut. She currently, and I don't know how current her website is, but it looks like she's doing some writing for Japanese animation. So that's cool, man.
Right. And what is the topic of Get You Mez before I go into it? I cut you off.
The topic is the best and worst advice you've ever given or received.
Here we go.
It's time for your medicine.
All right, so the best and worst topic, advice you've ever received. I think that's a great topic. I want to show the image in a second, if I can do that. But so tell us why that topic, Georgie Porgy, put in pie.
So, every time, obviously when we're doing the shows, we try to keep the topics not just current, but something that people can relate to or speaks to our audience, which is independent artists, people who follow independent artists, people who enjoy independent films, independent music, and those kind of things. So Sam and I were having a conversation today. I'm like, yo, Sam, I don't know, what should we talk about today? And Sam was like, yo, you know what? Let's talk about the best and worst advice we've ever been given. So that's how the topic came about. And so in thinking about that, I was thinking, okay, like obviously we don't have time to talk about every single piece of advice people have given us, whether they were good or bad. So I narrowed it down to just the best and the worst I've ever received. I don't know what you're thinking, Sam, but for me, I think that, and this is gonna be cliche because whatever, the worst advice ever given was give up and go get yourself a job, make some money that way, and stop doing this, Yeah. Worst advice. Because I think that for us creatives, no matter where we are in life, we always seem to want to come back to this. Or there's always something missing. There's a piece that we're like, damn, I should have done that. Or why didn't I try harder at this? So I think giving up isn't necessarily the answer. It's just giving it your all and see what happens.
You heard what he said, right?
That's been the worst. What about you, Sam?
No matter what the world may do to us, No matter if they try to tear our world apart, it won't get through to us. Remember that? It never changed, but it's in our heart.
What show is that from?
That was a song. It was a song. I don't think it was
I thought it was a theme song for a show.
no. That was
Back in the
What Would
days.
We Do, Baby? That was the other thing. But no. The worst advice I was given. Yes. So let's just give a quick rundown. In 2007, you released the book. George, correct? Remind me what the book was, George.
Gardener's Guide to Writing and Producing Animation.
Yeah, there you go. See that? And you were screenwriting, and you worked for a lot of different organizations. And so let's talk about your journey from then to now.
Definitely. So, as you alluded to, everything in my background up to that point was in episode 94, which I understand has now been made available out of the archive. So if anybody's interested in that, you can listen to that in full. At this point that you're at, I mentioned in the prior one, I have listened to it since you put it up, that I was working on a second book called Gardener's Guide to Pitching and Selling Animation.
Mm-hmm.
It did ultimately come out, but not in print. This was right at the time where a lot of academia was flirting with trying to do ebooks, and so they were doing the DRM-based PDF books, and that's the only way that it came out. It was never in a printed form. I only found out about it when I got my first and only royalty check on that book.
Oh.
I was like, you mean it came out? So there may be some libraries out there that still have it in digital collections. I don't know, but I personally don't own a copy of it. So let's see, from that point, actually about the same time that I was completing that, I got a job at a long-standing virtual world called Neopets, which has an interesting history because it was originally created by two people who sold it to a gentleman named Doug Doring, who then turned around after a couple years and sold it to Viacom, the parent company of Nickelodeon. Mm-hmm. Doug Doring has since gone on and founded Age of Learning, ABC Mouse, which many of your listeners may have heard of. It's a site geared for teaching, reading, writing, other skills to young children, and probably in what's going on right now, I suspect they're getting a lot of use.
Yeah.
They're still very, very successful. Anyway, I come into the company a little while after Doring has sold it. And it wasn't a place I had initially thought that I would end up in. But I had previously come out of a website geared to animation called Animation World Network, where I had been working as a kind of a production coordinator of sorts, helping their web people get different assets and stuff together. But it was an experimental position for AWN, and they decided in the end it really wasn't working for them. So after 6 months, I found myself laid off and not knowing what I was gonna do now.
You so crazy, crazy. I'm so crazy. You so crazy,